Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile video, and in this one I'm going to talk about the league mechanic of Crucible for 3.21 Path of Exile. And what's really interesting with this is that I think we all expected, to see a lot of crafting-oriented additions to this league mechanic, but instead of something that I think a lot of people were expecting, which was the legendary potential crafting method from last epoch, which we all love that has tried it out. We actually get something really cool that is not really the same, but it gives us a skill tree for our weapons and shield, and a unique helmet actually, which would have the shield skill tree to it actually. So it's really cool with this lead mechanic is that it allows us to scale weapons specifically and shields. And what happens is that we're able to juice up a crucible that you encounter in the different maps, and they're not going to be spawning every map that we were told. And the longer you juice them up, the harder the encounter is, and the more experience to our weapon that we get. And this can only be used on our weapon that we have equipped or in our offhand slots. And then once you've juiced up enough to get a point to it, so to say, the levels up, you're then able to put a point into its actual skill tree and reveals the skill tree. And there's some really cool things with this that allows you to have a juiced up weapon with certain stats. On the website, you can see the Foe Edge Calling Wand, that is a minion related one, having minion damage implicit with some spell damage, lightning damage spells, crit strike chance for spells, and chance to shock. This Calling Wand is one of the 3 minion related ones that can roll minion modifiers. And in there, you can see how it has the first node spec. This means that it has gotten 1 level, which it gives 2 to 3 additional physical damage from minions, and they make them overwhelmed, 10% of physical damage reduction. So this is a really cool way for you to see that even early game, with a low level 1 like this, it is worth it, theoretically at least, from this point that we have information for right now, to actually engage with the Crucible and mechanic to upgrade your weapons. Minions specifically have some very limited options early game when it comes to scaling their weapons, and this is an effective way to do so because you can actually purchase these ones from the vendors. And it also means that you're going to want to see these weapons when it comes to the loot filter as you play early game. And leveling them up higher than this allows you to spec into other nodes. And as you can see on the website here, they have a second node of allowing you to get 16 minion attack and cast speed, as well as increased minion damage. And that is a ton of minion attack and cast speed. So I wonder how these modifiers or the skill tree will look on the higher level ones when it comes to minions. And that's very, very curious. It does seem to provide a ton of power. And obviously, I think that for attack-based builds like bow builds or melee builds, we'll have a little bit of a trouble when it comes to the campaign era from the league mechanic, because considering the fact that they're going to want to upgrade their weapon consistently, minion builds don't have that problem, and you can actually get a early one of these minion ones and get them upgraded as soon as possible when you encounter this league mechanic, so that you can actually push this very early on and actually benefit from it and keep that wand till the mapping stage before you replace it. There's some really cool things for physical damage dealing weapons as well. For example, on the website, we can look at the Storm Strike Thicket bow, which is a really good bow with a ton of physical damage. And the first node gets extra flat damage, and fist damage converted to chaos. It's spec'd into Master Fletcher, which is a notable on the actual tree that you get, or in the Ascendancy node. And you can get some grace efficiency, and you can get Sock of the Gems supported by a lesser GMP, or in this case, it's lesser multiple projectiles. So it's really cool mechanics in general that you can get from this skill tree, and I'm very excited to see how this turns out. And something I really liked about this lead mechanic is the addition of making items sell for more to vendors. That is something that that you can see on the last item, being the Honor Edge Siege Axe. The very last node says item sells for an additional unique axe, and this is something they mentioned could be something that you sell for chaos orbs or for chance orbs or divine orbs even. And that's so cool because it allows you to actually open up and look at the league mechanic for items that you don't plan to actually use, but rather use them to sell them to make some extra money. And I like this approach because it incentivizes people to engage with the league mechanic, even if it's for items that might not have a skill tree that you're excited about to use, but rather to just sell to make some extra currency out of. I'm personally a big fan of this league mechanic. I'm looking forward to it tons. Obviously, there are some questions, and I think it would be fun if we had skill trees for all our items. I think we're all going to agree on that now already, that it would be cool to see this on things like, you know, your body armor, your boots and gloves and stuff like that. But, you know, obviously for the sake of balance, they can't go too crazy with it, because I think some of these are already absolutely insane. There is another impact of this league mechanic, which I find rather curious as someone myself who's been spending the last 9 years with making tons of mirror items in leagues. And that is the fact that GGG has always stated that they don't want to make impacts that will impact the actual markets in the game. And then again, and consistently, they have been bringing in a lot of these things that has a direct impact on the market. With skill trees available on your weapons, this will have a huge impact on the actual standard league mirror service market. So it's going to be very curious to see how people will react to that. So believe it or not, there is quite a few people that actually still play exclusively in standard league. Now, obviously, from my personal perspective, I really don't care too much about it, but I figured it would be fair to mention, at least for the people that do play those leagues. I myself am a league player and I play the 3-month league, so I really don't care about it too much, but again, I wanted to mention it. So the pros and cons of this is obviously the fact that it's only on weapons and on shields, and we haven't seen any sort of specific nodes for shields other than the shield available on the website being the buckskin tower shield that shows you the increased implicit modifier magnitudes in flat armor, increased block allocated by allocates testudo, and increased quality on the item, and movement speed if dexterity is below 100, which does give us an impact, or at least a hint that again it would be beneficial to use the league mechanic before you get to the mapping stage and actually engage with it as you're playing through the campaign, because of these extra modifiers that will help you get faster or more power early game before you reach the mapping stage. So I'm very excited about this, and I wonder how the higher item level modifiers will look and how strong this will actually be in the end game. And there's some really cool things where you can combine 2 different items into the skill trees combined into an item to make some absolutely crazy trees. Because essentially for min-maxing or the high end game, you're going to want to look at that perfect weapon and then making sure that that weapon has the perfect skill tree that you want to ramp it up with. So it's a really cool end game progression in terms of upgrading your character with using this tree. So personally, as a crafter myself, I am more than excited about trying this out. But again, there's obviously skill balances and whatnot will be a big topic or a big question about this. And they did mention in the reveal that items such as Facebreaker that don't actually even use a weapon will be builds that are build types that don't really have any benefits from the league mechanic itself. So maybe if you're looking to play a build with Facebreaker, you might have to look elsewhere, I'm afraid. But I myself am excited about this. It's really fun to see this type of mechanic. It's always been something that I admire GGG for when it comes to introducing new and cool mechanics that we can play around with. And, you know, the first iteration of this, it seems to me that this would be absolutely amazing to see further developed and actually be made a core mechanic. Again, this is before even playtesting it. That's how excited I am about this. I think it's going to be good feeling for everyone to play with something like that because of the character progression sense that you get from engaging with something like this, as you feel like you're actually upgrading your character when you're doing this in a really cool way. That's just my 2 cents on it. I'm very excited about it. I wanted to make a video to discuss this and just share my 2 cents of how I feel about the league mechanic. So let me know in the comments below what you feel about the league mechanic. Any pros, cons, expectations, or any concerns, let me know because I'm going to read through the entire comment list. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out and subscribe for more content. I'll catch you guys then. Till next time, stay safe, keep rocking.